Greetings, viewers. I'm by names Chini Jimdin, the Executive Director, Zidan Benevolence. Our organization is based in Uganda, Africa as a continent. We are doing our activities within the rural areas of Uganda, especially Wikwe district, a newly formed district. So now, Zidan Benevolence is an organization with the mission to work towards the elimination of HIV/AIDS stigma and fight against pediatric HIV/AIDS through disease awareness, disease prevention, professional and child education, improving scientific capacity, strengthening healthcare and treatment services for women, children, and families. Now, we are trying to do these activities within the rural area simply because we are after empowering rural communities free from ignorance, extreme poverty, generate an HIV-free society where new infections are halted and people living with HIV or affected by HIV receive quality services and support. We are trying to rescue the poor or the underprivileged free from ignorance, HIV/AIDS, and extreme poverty. We are doing our activities in a volunteer capacity. For us, volunteering for non-profit organization is a time-honored tradition. While volunteering, we gain valuable experience and a sense of community involvement. For us, we have it in our mind that volunteer work is important, and that's why we are volunteering. It's important to our health because it improves psychological and physical health. We reap the benefits of feeling a person's sense of accomplishment while building social networks that in turn support us in times of stress. That's why we keep on volunteering. So we help the underprivileged using what we call the behavior change approach. This approach we use encourage our community members to adopt health lifestyle behaviors, use preventive health services, and to take responsibility for their own health. That's why we try to use what we call the behavior change approach. This is the only approach or the theory which can help the underprivileged, especially if you keep on using it. It will help the underprivileged. It's all about teaching them how to monitor their life before being attacked by diseases or opportunistic diseases. We do this simply because we live in these communities whereby you will not even find there are some people we call paramedics. We have no ambulances. So at least they need to monitor their health before that condition get worsened. So we try our level best and reach them in their catchment areas. Because when you try to mobilize them to come in one place at least, so that at least you can at least save some time, they will not come. They are scattered and they are deep in villages. So that's why we keep on doing door-to-door voluntary counseling and testing. We've tried our level best at least to reach their homes and try to deliver the relevant information about HIV and AIDS within their families. Why? Simply because the positive livings are stigmatized. They are isolated. You find a home whereby a positive living doesn't even sleep in the same bed, doesn't sleep in the same bedroom. They don't use the same utensils. So they isolate them. Why? It is simply because they are ignorant about HIV and AIDS. So it's the matter of delivering the relevant information about HIV to them. Teaching them the modes of transmission, simply because for them they think that when you shake hands, when you hug someone, or when you peck, give a peck, or staying at the zero distance with a positive living, that you'll be infected. So we are trying at least to let these people live a neutralized life. They need to live HIV neutral. No need to see someone's status. We are trying our level best, but there are some achievements. We are saying simply because we see some indicators. When they keep on again giving us calls to their homes, at least we know that they have started at least gaining something from what we are trying to teach them. So now what we are trying to do is not to show off, but to help those who are in need of our hope. That's our target. People are there who need our hope. For us, we are not hard drives, if I'm to go into IT language, but we are peripheral devices. We don't keep data, we spread information. That's what we do in rural areas. We need to it's like we have to remind ourselves that our work is far from complete. Where there is poverty and sickness, including AIDS, where human beings are being oppressed, there is more work to be done. Our work is for freedom for all. So with rural areas, we have at least to take responsibilities of helping these people. Treating HIV/AIDS is a lifelong commitment that demands strict adherence or obedience to drug protocols, consistent care, and trusting relationship with health care providers. If you really want to achieve something. So AIDS today is not a death sentence, as people think, especially in rural areas. AIDS is not a death sentence, because for them, when they get to know that you're HIV, AIDS, or you're a positive living, they know that you're already finished. But AIDS today is not a death sentence. It can be treated as a chronic illness or a chronic disease. That's what people should know. It doesn't inevitably lead to death, but few, at least, and those we've reached who know such kind of stuff. It doesn't inevitably lead to death, especially if you suppress the cofactors that support the disease. It is very important to update ourselves or to update everyone, so that at least they come to know that HIV/AIDS is not a death sentence. To deliver the message, we need to band together as a unit every day so that we conquer the strength of the AIDS virus. If we don't do that, a lot of people are going to be suffering. People are ignorant about HIV. Take my word, people are ignorant about HIV. Some people still have it in mind. Some people have it in mind that AIDS is nature's retribution for violating the laws of nature. Now you can imagine when you go deep in the villages, people still have that in mind. But these are the kind of stuffs we are trying, all kind of information we are trying to erase out of their brain or their minds. And there are belief structures in certain cultures within the settings we work that can undermine HIV treatment and access to care. Beliefs such as choosing local traditional healers over health facility services and home-based delivery of infants over delivering at health facilities, which have the capacity to address obstetric emergencies and intervene with antiretroviral medication to reduce risk of HIV infections. So we've tried our level best and we are still trying. Though we have some challenges we are facing, especially in this field. So sometimes we face a problem when we are going for outreaches. We lack equipment to use. We keep on also hiring vehicles we're supposed to use. But again, since these areas are far and deep in the forest of villages, sometimes when we get into muddy places, the owner of the vehicles, they don't want to exceed. We have no organization van, and we are trying our level best at least to seek for support so that at least we can get our own organization van. When we are going to train, you know, it's like when we are going to do our outreach in an area, we first go there and train community members and even train those volunteers who are willing to work with us, so that when we finish training them and we go there for an outreach, after finishing the VCT outreach, of the voluntary counseling and testing outreach, or any workshop for developmental ideas, when we leave, at least the community members can be in position to reach those guys we've left or we've trained, the peer educators we've trained, so they can access the information. And when we are not there, they can be in position to monitor the projects we've implemented at least. And if possible, any problem, they can contact us. We first train those we can leave that side, so that these people we've tried to help can't fail to access the information or the health centers. When there is any problem and it's beyond, they understand, at least they try also to raise us. And if it's beyond us, we also forward it. So that's what we do in the field of HIV. And again, when you go to Boikwe or to rural areas, women and girls are really suffering. Women and girls, I repeat, are really suffering. Those who have not yet visited the rural areas, they know nothing about them. Women and girls in Boikwe district or in other rural areas are facing a lot of challenges, and even being neglected. These people are neglected. No one is taking care of them. And it's like when you reach there, at least you can understand that they are facing a lot of problems. A lot is needed to save them. A lot is needed to save them. We all know that girls above 12 years experience the adolescent changes in their life, and one of them is to have menstruation periods towards the end of the month. Most women and girls within rural areas of Ikwe district are not aware of the concept of menstrual hygiene. Women and girls are stigmatized I'm telling you. They are stigmatized within. Because you may find someone at least who can be in position maybe to afford. And it's like when you go, because you can even move a whole parish when there's no shop. But they are fearing even to go to these shops. Why? The shop attendants are men. So they keep on putting their imaginations into reality. That these people, when you start purchasing a sanitary napkin, they will start backbiting you. They will start again creating stories about you. So they ignore for those who can. I'm telling you. And those are facts, I'm telling you. Those are facts. Because I've been there. I've been there. So I know really what is taking place. Women and girls are stigmatized during their periods because of being dirty. And they choose to use dirty clothes repeatedly without discussing it with anyone. In most areas of Wikwe, let me say that, in most areas of Wikwe district, sanitary napkins are not available for several kilometers for those who can at least try to afford buying them. As I've told you, because retail shops are owned by men. So menstruation for most women. And by the way, as in women or mothers, it's like they don't even have the time of telling their daughters that when you clock or when you age 13 to 15 years, that you will start experiencing the menstruation periods. So it's like they experience without any knowledge. That's why at least my colleagues I work with, we are trying our level best to help them. Menstruation for most women is accompanied with pain. That much we know. And discomfort. And with the lack of awareness and access to sanitary napkins and other hygiene products, it becomes very difficult for girls to go to school. And hence, many tend to drop out. Many tend to drop out. Because someone again who has started experiencing that pain, they travel long distance. Moreover, let me tell you, in a sub-county you can find one primary school, you can find one secondary school. And that means you are supposed to walk something like 16 kilometers a day. Now someone who is experiencing her menstruation periods, how will she be in position? How will she be in position to go to school? They get fed up. No one to help. They have no clothes to cut because they keep on cutting their clothes. So they really need hope. They really need hope. Some girls tend to drop out of school when they start menstruating due to lack of affordability of menstruation hygiene products. But these are the things at least we can provide if we had support. We lack support. But it doesn't mean that they are supposed to be going, or we are supposed to be giving them money, but at least to provide clothes and teach or train them how to make the sanitary pads or napkins. So these are the stuffs we can also try to do. Dropping out of education drives early child marriage and makes them lose the opportunity to be in the workforce. Because like if you don't even finish a primary living, or if you don't have a primary living certificate or ordinary level certificate, who will employ you? You end up being a maid, housemaid. because that's the grade which has no even basic salary recognized by the government. So while educating and accessibility continue to be a challenge, and though it's okay for women to use clothes, only that the problem is lack of hygiene and access to clean or new clothes to use. We are not able to communicate it to the women that they need to wash the clothes and allow it to dry in the sun. Drying it in the sun is of utmost important, as it helps prevent infections when the cloth is reused. So they need knowledge and they need hope, and we also need support so that we can help them, because we know where they are and we know their weakness. We know their weakness. So my team, we are trying our level best at least to help them, because we need at least to purchase some clothes or pieces and train them how to make sanitary pads or napkins. So those are again a challenge, or the main challenge, helping women. Now, again, there's also education when you go in rural areas. When you go in rural areas, when you find, when a kid who is below 6 years doesn't go to school, and those who tried, they ended up in primary 4 or primary 7. Now, why these kids who are below 6 years are not going to school? It is simply because there are no daycares, there are no nursery schools within their communities, and these kids cannot walk the long distances to attend the lessons where the schools are, or the daycare or nursery schools are. Their parents have no bicycles, they have no motorcycles or cars to take their kids to school. So they just wait for them at least to age 6 years. Then they will go to school. And for the youth, they drop out because they have no school charges. And you keep on finding a family of 10 kids or children, but when they are not going to school, oh, only 2 are going. So the family, or the family elders, father or mother, they are just providing them food, nothing else. Why? They lack family planning methods. They lack the information about family planning. Because when you try to talk to the woman, when you try to talk to the man, they can also tell you that we are not after getting a lot of kids. But whenever I tell my wife, do this, do this, do this, she doesn't know. And you know, women, you can't tell me because you can't do when I need to act as a man. So at least for those at least who are below 8, because like if the government failed, we cannot provide, or we cannot construct schools for them. But what we are trying to do, we take our time and make charts. We try to go and visit these people. We try to organize some teachers mobile, go into their families and tell their parents, because you find when the family, at least a dad or a father, tried and ended up in primary 4 or primary 7 or form 2 or 1, that means that he or she can be in position at least to help the kid, to teach him the alphabetical orders, to teach him the first figures. So we are trying to make these charts for them to help their kids so that at least when they go to school, they have some little knowledge. And we do also come in, because there are not many. They are deep in the villages but scattered. So we find it's like our organization or our members, when we can also help them. And for the youth, we try our level best to give them development ideas. They can be skilled in different fields. And we give them the development ideas basing on the projects they have some idea. We don't bring in new projects, but we give ideas on projects they have some idea, especially poultry, keeping, piggery projects, and also modernized farming methods, so that at least they can be skilled in that. You know, it's like my mother told me that I must always be intolerant or fanatical of ignorance, but understanding of illiteracy. Especially that day when I had completed my advanced level and I had not joined the university. And she said that some people who were unable to go to school were more educated and more intelligent than college professors. So she tried to quote me that. I said, okay. That's when I even started also engaging into voluntary work. So these people are facing a lot of problems in education, but we try our level best and help them. And some now do have some projects, but we keep on monitoring. You find when even the hygiene within them is poor, and they keep on suffering from diseases like diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, typhoid, and polio. That kills young children due to poor drinking water. You know, in the area where you're operating, there's no borehole, there's no tap water, but they are getting drinking water from the wells. And these wells, when you check on them, the wells are not, the water is not flowing. That means that the water is contaminated. So there are no wells. This area where we're operating, you will not find schools. You will not find hospitals. You will not find shops. As I explained to you, water and even cars, you need to travel, you need to walk long distances to reach these people. That's why sometimes when we fail, we go into secondary schools, at least because their kids or their sons and daughters are there. We try to train them and deliver the information to them. Then they also deliver to their parents. Because with poor hygiene in my community, often accompanies certain mental or emotional disorders, including severe depression and psychotic disorders. Other community members develop poor hygiene habits due to social factors such as poverty or inadequate of social support. You can imagine. So we as Zidan Benevolence, whatever we decide we want to do is what we do, so that these people can be helped, so that the underprivileged, or the cry of the underprivileged, is heard. Whatever we decide to do is what we do. And if you want to see a miracle, my brother, you are supposed to become a miracle to the underprivileged. To really change the world, we have to hope people change the way they see things. Global betterment is a mental process, one that requires huge sums of money or a high level of authority. To change, change has a psychological change has, no, it's like change here. Change has to be psychological. You get my point? Change has to be psychological. And I hope you understand what I call psychological. Everyone knows what psychological mean. Not so. Because, or emotional. Let me just use that. Emotional, when I talk of psychological, you all get my point. Change has to be psychological. Some people should know that. So if you want to see real change, stay persistent in educating humanity on how similar we all are than different. Don't only strive to be the change you want to see in the world, but also help all those who are around you see the world through commonalities of the heart, so that they would want to change with you. This is how humanity will evolve to become better, my brothers. This is how you can change the world. Just have that in mind, that the language of the heart is mankind's main common language. Those who help the most are the ones with the least to spare. Helping others is the secret source to happy life. When you hope, or when you fail to hope the underprivileged, your own hope or your own cry for hope will not be heard. Just take that from me. Just take that from me. It doesn't mean that to hope the underprivileged you need to be having a lot of money. No. As I told you, we use the IT language, that we are not hard drives to store data, but we are peripheral devices to spread information. And this habit of getting worried, especially when you don't have work, no need to worry. Because the best antidote I know for worry is work. The best cure for fatigue is the challenge of helping someone who is even more tired. One of the great ironies or mockeries of life is he or she who serves almost always benefits more than he or she who is served. Hope you're trying to get me well. I hate living in a kind of world where we don't look out for each other. And it's not just all about the people that care or that are close to us, but anybody who needs a helping hand. It's not all that easy for me to change the way anybody else thinks or what they choose to do, but I can do my bit. That's the reality. We only have what we give to those in need of our hope. Just have that in mind. And the best way not to feel hopeless in this world is to get up and do something. I repeat, the best way not to feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. Have that in mind. We give them hope to have hope in their kids. Because you can't build a house without hammer and saw. And you can't expect others to build a successful life if the tools of learning, my friend, and health weren't instilled in childhood. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. So please, those who are willing to join us, those who are willing to help us, we need support. We need support. Don't wait to realize the use of water when the source is dry. I call upon those from first world countries, those from developing countries, and those who can try to help us within the third world countries. Please come and help us so that we can help the underprivileged. We need to help these people. They need hope. You will get the whole information when you try to go through the link below. Try the link, you'll get the information about the areas where we're operating. I greet you, my viewers. Thank you.